Well, we begin as WSU head football coach Nick Rolovich once again in the headlines, and it has nothing to do with his decision not to get the COVID vaccine. Instead, he's now being sued by one of his former players.
Yeah, Brendan Green joining us now at the set, and today it was brought to light that former WSU receiver Kassidy Woods has filed a lawsuit against Nick Rolovich and WSU.
Yeah, everybody hold on while I get through this because it's very complicated. If you remember last year, Woods had a phone conversation with Rolovich in which he informed the coach that he would be opting out of the season due to COVID-19 concerns. The conversation quickly turned to Rolovich asking Woods if he was involved in the Pac-12 Players We Are United movement, which was a movement that centered around player safety during the pandemic, compensation, and improving racial injustice. When Woods acknowledged that he was involved in that movement, Rolovich said Woods' future with the team was in jeopardy. That's when Woods' attorney, Cody Towns, who Krem talked to exclusively today, stepped in.
We originally thought this is something that we could set up a meeting, we could get some things worked out, and this would all move ahead.
Obviously, it did not work out that way. After Kassidy Woods' conversation with Nick Rolovich, he was asked to clean out his locker and was subsequently removed from several forms of communication around the team. Woods' lawyer, Cody Towns, says he understands due to COVID-19 concerns why Woods was asked to clean out his locker, but the extent Rolovich took things to, including for a short time barring Woods from eating team meals, was extreme.
When you tie that to all the other things that Coach Rolovich had Kassidy cut off from, it was clear that the message he wanted to send was much broader than that. You were not part of this team, and you won't be in electronic communication with this team. You won't participate with this team in any way. That was the message that was being sent, in our opinion.
The quote from the lawsuit that caught the most eyes today was about the team cutting Kassidy off from all forms of electronic communication with his squad. This is the quote from the lawsuit. WSU would later allege that these precautions were taken for players who were sensitive to exposure for COVID-19. However, the fallacy of that argument is obvious. At the time of this complaint, there are no reported cases that can be found of transmission of COVID-19 through Zoom, iMessage, or GroupMe chats. COVID-19 transmission is entirely impossible through virtual communications.
Well, we have some good writers in the firm, I think that the university painted themselves into that corner a little bit with their actions. As stated, the fallacy of the argument is pretty obvious to all of us.
Before this lawsuit was filed, Towns and the Woods family repeatedly asked for meetings with the school. They never got one with WSU President Kirk Schultz, but they did get one with WSU AD Pat Chun that only made the family more exacerbated.
And it was a real disappointment to the family, to be honest with you. The athletic director, Mr. Chun, he assured us that he supported Coach Rolovich and the decisions that Coach Rolovich had made.
The lawsuit is seeking damages for harm to Woods' athletic career, lost scholarships as Woods eventually felt he had no other choice but to transfer, and lost educational opportunities. It also says that Rolovich and WSU violated Woods' First Amendment rights when the coach said that Woods being aligned with the We Are United group could be a problem for him, and that Rolovich's actions were racist, as the We Are United group has a strong affiliation with improving racial injustice.
It started to feel to the family more like this was an issue in which Kassidy Woods was being punished for the position he took in terms of social and racial justice. And those feelings haven't softened at all to the point of the suit being filed.
Does the family believe Nick Rolovich is racist?
They've never said to me those words, but I do think that they feel that it's because of their race that things have turned out the way that they have.
Mr. Towns told me that with how slow the justice system is moving right now due to COVID-19, he does not expect to see this case in court until late next year.